हेलो एवरीवन, अ वेरी वार्म वेलकम। आई होप आप सब अच्छे होंगे। रणवीर अलाहाबादिया एक फेमस यूट्यूबर है इंडिया में विद मिलियंस ऑफ फॉलोअर्स अक्रॉस वेरियस सोशल मीडिया प्लेटफॉर्म। उसने एक कॉमेडी शो में कुछ कमेंट किया या एक जोक किया विच वाज क्वाइट ऑफेंसिव फॉर ऑल सेक्शंस ऑफ सोसाइटी। अगर आपने वो नहीं सुना है या अगर आप अभी तक आपने आई डोंट थिंक देयर इज एनीवन इन इंडिया हु इज नॉट across the across this or not aware of it. लेकिन अगर आपने नहीं है तो just for the completeness of this video, although I don't want to even repeat what he said, but I will just keep it brief. uh, he talked about sex and parents, so I'll leave it at that. अगर आपको पूरा देखना है तो you can search it on Google और YouTube. लेकिन उस एक जोक से उस प्लेटफॉर्म से जो स्टॉर्म क्रिएट हुआ पूरे कंट्री में and I think all over the world wherever Indians live as well has been out of control. तो उसमें not only it has done a lot of damage to him, but it has put a whole question mark on whole of social media, freedom of speech, moral values, ethics, you name it. हर चीज की डिस्कशन उसने शुरू कर दी और मुझे नहीं लगता कि ये डिस्कशन आउट ऑफ द ब्लू होगी या एक जोक की वजह से हो गई. I think it has been in the making for a long time with the advent of social media and how we have a young India where youngsters are pushing the boundaries and doing all sorts of things that are perhaps not sitting well with the rest of the society. So it was just a matter of time when someone was going to take note and do something about it. And I think, and I have a feeling that this incident, I'll call it an incident, can actually be a catalyst for what how things can change in the future. क्योंकि अब इसमें not only media is involved, it has gone to parliament. Most of all the politicians are talking about it. Judiciary is involved. It has gone to the top court, Supreme Court, जो मेरा आज का main video का objective है. So there are big institutions involved, and I think what may happen is that this incident may become an example or a catalyst for things to change into the future when it comes to our moral boundaries, our social fabric, and what's acceptable to a society like India, even though we are very modern. So आज का मेरा वीडियो का ऑब्जेक्टिव रणवीर को क्रश करने का नहीं है. आई थिंक इज ऑलरेडी अंडर अ लॉट ऑफ प्रेशर एंड टू सम एक्सटेंट आई डू फील फॉर हिम एज वेल. लेकिन उसके साथ साथ मेरा जो आई थिंक what he's going through, perhaps he should have been more careful. जब आप इतने टॉप पोजीशन पे होते हैं, पब्लिक फिगर होते हैं, you got to be very careful with what you say. So I think I'm sure he's realized that and he's apologized as well. लेकिन जो मेरा main objective है, as I said, is not to damage him more. It's more about what this could mean for the future when it comes to freedom of speech and how far is too far. So for that, I actually want to focus on what the court or Supreme Court of India said about this, and how did Supreme Court of India even got involved, and uske baad what it could mean or signal for the future. So let's get started on what were some of the key remarks that Supreme Court made about this incident. Just quickly before getting into what the Supreme Court said, the background on how they got involved. It was actually Ranveer himself who actually approached the Supreme Court to ask for consolidation of all the FIRs that have been lodged against him in various states of the country. And secondly, he not only wanted them to be clubbed, but he also wanted those FIRs to be cancelled. तो उन दो चीज़ों के लिए वो उसने अप्रोच किया था कि I've got death threats against me and my family, और मैं various states में जाके इनको face नहीं कर सकता, and on top of that if they can be all clubbed, but more importantly if they can be even cancelled. That's what was the objective of him approaching the court. Now, what the Supreme Court judges said was quite remarkable. They were critical, they were direct, and they were quite upset and offended. Generally, हम देखते हैं कि judges किसी केस में जब बहुत ज़्यादा hype बन जाती है, they don't let it get to them. And I don't think they are still influenced by what is happening in the rest of the country, but they are personally and deeply quite offended with what they heard, and the remarks that they made to Ranveer's lawyer are quite direct and quite critical of Ranveer. So let's go one by one so that you can also appreciate how upset the judges were with what they have actually heard. So the first question the judges asked is, where is the question of an individual's morality? We can understand if one person says, I don't like it, or I don't like these kind of words. You tell us if there is anyone on earth who would actually like these kind of words. तो वो ये कह रहे हैं कि एक दो आदमी या एक दो इंसान कहें कि हमें ये सब कुछ अच्छा नहीं लगा तो समझ में आती है. But when the whole world deplores these type of words, then how do you justify it? तो वो ये कह रहे हैं. उसके बाद उन्होंने जजेस ने कहा, यू आर इंसल्टिंग पेरेंट्स. We don't want to say anything further, but there is something very dirty in his mind that has been vomited by him in this kind of program. So very stern words. कि जो भी गंदी थॉट्स हैं उसके दिमाग में उसने उसको एक्सप्रेस किया उस प्रोग्राम में. Why should the court entertain this kind of person? तो जो वो अपनी एप्लीकेशन लेके आया था टू cancel the bail and all, cancel the FIRs and all that. Why should we entertain this type of a person who's got such a dirty mind? So that was the start of the conversation with his lawyer. So the next set of remarks get even more difficult for the advocate who is representing Ranveer. Here it goes. The words you have chosen, the parents will feel ashamed. Daughters and sisters will feel ashamed. Your younger brother will feel ashamed. The entire society will feel ashamed. उसके बाद वो उसके रणवीर के एडवोकेट को बोलते हैं कि stop this show business for the time being. We don't want him to do any more shows or his associates to do any more shows. And then they go on to ask some further questions. We would like to know in this country, if there's no obscenity, then what is the standard of obscenity? अगर आप इसको obscenity नहीं मानते तो फिर obscenity क्या होगी? And then he goes on to say, the judge, what are those parameters and values? We would like to know from the petitioner, which is Ranveer, and other artists who have joined him. How do you behave yourself? How do you conduct yourself in the society? According to them, what are those parameters of Indian society? आफ्टर दैट उनके रणवीर का एडवोकेट फिर से कहते हैं कि जो उनकी एफआईआर जो हैं वो डिफरेंट स्टेट्स में हुई हैं बिकॉज उनको डेथ थ्रेट्स हैं तो ही कांट गो इन ऑल दो स्टेट्स एंड ही वांटेड देम टू बी क्लब्ड और इवन कैंसल. तो उसके ऊपर जजेस क्या कहते हैं, इफ यू कैन ट्राई टू गेट चीप पब्लिसिटी बाय यूजिंग ऑल अब्यूजिव लैंग्वेज देन समवन गिविंग थ्रेट्स आल्सो वांट्स टू बी पॉपुलर. एवरी डे दिस हैपेंस, द बेंच सेज. तो अगर रणवीर चीप पब्लिसिटी के लिए इस तरह के घटिया जोक्स क्रैक कर सकता है तो जो लोग उसको थ्रेट्स दे रहे हैं वो भी उस पब्लिसिटी के लिए इस तरह के काम कर सकते हैं. बट दैट डजंट मीन दैट वी सपोर्ट दैट. यहाँ पे लॉ एंड ऑर्डर है एंड वी विल प्रोटेक्ट हिम. बट जस्ट टू पुट थिंग्स इन पर्सपेक्टिव, अगर रणवीर ऐसे काम करके पब्लिसिटी ले सकता है तो जो थ्रेट दे रहे हैं वो भी शायद इसलिए दे रहे हैं ताकि उनको भी पब्लिसिटी मिले. उसके बाद वो फाइनली कहते हैं उसके लॉयर को टू आस्क रणवीर टू डिपॉजिट हिज पासपोर्ट इन थाने पुलिस स्टेशन एंड ऑल्सो रिस्ट्रेनिंग हिम फ्रॉम लीविंग द कंट्री विदाउट देयर परमिशन. और उसके बाद वो ऑल्सो सेंटर को, महाराष्ट्र गवर्नमेंट को और असम की गवर्नमेंट को पूछते हैं कि शुड दोज एफआईआर्स बी क्लब्ड इन वन. तो उन्होंने उसको क्वेश्चन नहीं किया है, उनको कैंसिल नहीं किया, बट दे आस्क्ड द क्वेश्चन, कैन what are your thoughts on clubbing those FIRs and taking them further? So finally, let's bring it all together in terms of the objective of this video. जो मेरा मैंने जो शुरू में वीडियो के बोला था कि it was not about crushing Ranveer or embarrassing him. I think he's already quite embarrassed. The objective was कि इस इंसिडेंट से क्या चेंज आ सकती है, especially in light of the way Supreme Court reacted to this incident. तो before I even go further, एक चीज मैं बोलना चाहूँगा कि I don't think it's a little bit difficult to speak on behalf of the whole society. लेकिन I'll speak for myself. I'm full of impurities and gaps, and I'm sure I have committed endless mistakes in life to date. तो कोई भी किसी के लिए भी 100% मॉरली करेक्ट होना, और कभी किसी ने कोई अनएथिकल काम ना किया हो या मॉरली कोई ऐसी चीज़ें ना की हों जिससे वो अपने आप को एक परफेक्ट ह्यूमन बीइंग कह सके, आई थिंक दे आर हार्ड टू फाइंड. They may exist, but they are quite hard to find. So, and I don't think Supreme Court also has that view as well. In fact, they have a very big heart. Judiciary around the world, they take a very, as much as possible, a lenient view towards the petitioner. तो लेकिन उसके साथ साथ जैसे मैंने जो आपको रिमार्क्स पढ़ के सुनाए, उसमें एक चीज बड़ी क्लियर है कि टेक्निकली दे नो दैट इट परहैप्स does not fall under the domain of obscenity, but they are quite upset. And why they are upset is because they do not agree with what is going on overall in the society, and especially in this specific case. तो उनको काफी clear है, and they are quite offended कि किस तरह से इस तरह की जो वल्गैरिटी है और इस तरह की जो डिमीनिंग जोक्स या डिमीनिंग लैंग्वेज मोर इम्पोर्टेंटली जो यूज की जा रही है, इज इट इन लाइन विद आवर वैल्यू सिस्टम, इज इट मॉरली करेक्ट, इज इट एथिकली करेक्ट, व्हाट इज इट दैट वी आर गिविंग टू आवर यंग जनरेशन. आई थिंक दिस इज वेयर इट विल मूव फॉरवर्ड. मेरे को थोड़ी सी इंक्लिनेशन है कि परहैप्स गवर्नमेंट, जुडिशरी and other sections of the society, they have been on the lookout कि हमें कोई किसी तरह की कोई ऐसी केस मिले, ऐसी एग्जाम्पल मिले जिसको हम एक तरह से कैटलिस्ट बना के उसको कुछ चेंजेस लेके आए अपने सोशल फैब्रिक में, so that सोशल फैब्रिक doesn't get damaged to a point it can't be repaired. And जो सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने जो इन्वोक किया है, not just the law, they have invoked values, moral conduct, society parameters, what is expected of you as a citizen of a country, how you should behave and what sort of language you should speak. So maybe somewhere, I hope there will be some changes, because it's high time that we bring some laws and some changes to make sure that everyone can feel comfortable in terms of what they see, what they watch, what they hear. When you're a public figure and you have millions of followers and all that, and people are looking up to you, it's your responsibility to act quite responsibly as well. You can't just say that, well, अगर हम घर पे करते हैं तो बाहर अगर ऐसी बात कर दी तो क्या हो गया, otherwise you're अगर आप नहीं करते तो you're a hypocrite. I don't think that is a reasonable explanation. There's a decorum, there is some sort of bare minimum expectation in terms of how you conduct yourself out there in the society, and that's what I think Supreme Court was getting at. So let's see what happens. Maybe nothing will happen and there will be status quo, but I have a feeling that something will happen, and if it happens, I think it will be for the greater good of the society. So this brings us to the end of the video. Thanks for watching. If you liked it, please do share it with others. I'll see you next time with a new topic. Until then, be happy, be good, and take care.